Kroger, an annual Boost membership just got even better. Now you can choose from Disney Plus with ads, Hulu with ads, or ESPN Plus on us when you sign up. Plus, enjoy unlimited free delivery, double fuel points, exclusive offers, and free items. Sign up for a Boost membership today. It's an easier way to save, including new streaming options to relax with while we deliver your groceries. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
The following production is part of the We Be Geeks podcast collective.
From days long ago, from uncharted regions of the universe, comes a legend.
The dream that came through a million years, that lived on through all the tears.
It came here, the Fandom Nexus.
Fabulous secret powers were revealed to our host as he plugged in his microphone.
I have a podcast!
Here he is, your Spider-Pan, Jeremy.
Yes, I know it's been a long time, but I'm finally back. Your Spider-Pan Jeremy another for some more fun in the Fandom Nexus and everything. We got a lot of stuff to do today, and a lot of this show's become a tribute. We'd had this planned for a very, very long time to cover the Black Cauldron, and not just the Disney film, but the Chronicles of Prydain and the book itself, the entire book series. I've been working on this thing for weeks, trying to have it all ready, and I had everything ready, and then we've just had one thing and another and just haven't gotten it done. So sorry for the delay on here, but we are finally back. And when I say we, it's because the BioNerd is with me.
Hi. Or the WendyNerd.
Well, the WendyNerd. Well, I call you the BioNerd.
Yeah.
You used to call me the Blackbird because I had a shirt that was kind of black and it looked like a red-winged blackbird, if you know what one of those are. Look them up. Google it. Yeah.
The shoulders had red and yellow, and he liked birds, so I was like, it's Blackbird, you know.
There we go. And I am adjusting your volume, which means I'm going to pick up a lot more on your microphone. So when I talk, I'm going to turn you off. But yes, for those that are in the know, this is my wife, the WendyNerd. So when I was the Spider-Fan, she got to be the official WendyNerd, although I call her BioNerd. But yeah, so this is Heather here with me. And we have both now, well, you've read more on the books than I did.
Yeah, I actually discovered the
Well, we're not
series.
into the topic. I'm just trying to...
Yes, okay, well.
But, yeah, I mean, because did you get through the entire series in the time that we've been waiting to do this?
Yes, actually, I have, yeah.
Okay, so you finished the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're going to go and talk about those different books. Boy, if you could hear the difference when I turn your mic off compared to what I sound like. Because, yeah, she's sitting right next to me, and that microphone over there is picked up everything, and my voice carries. But that is our plan for today, to go through and cover all of that and have a lot of fun with it, because I tell you what, there's some differences between the book and what Disney did, and we thought it'd be fun to talk about those books, and if you haven't read them, I think you'll enjoy them, and like I said, okay, yeah, if you're going to speak, you might have to nudge me, sorry.
Oh, well, sorry, yeah, I recommend the books, they're good.
Yeah, the recommendation was coming later, but that's okay. But yes, we're definitely recommending, but before we get to that, we have questions, of course. We like to... I'm going to have to shut my phone off. I'm sorry, folks. I should have muted this thing. I didn't think anybody would bug me at this time. All right, so first, we'd like to ask some questions. So I'm going to ask you straight off. What have you been watching?
What have I been watching?
Yep.
Well, I don't know. I guess actually I've been rewatching Spy X Family. It's their Spy Family. It's an anime, and it's cute. It's if you like that kind of thing, it's good. And I think it's also good if you're not into anime, because it's not the weird kind of anime. And it's funny. It's funny, yeah. So you've got basically it's just a crazy. You got a dad, quote unquote dad, who's a spy. You have a girl who's a telepath, so she can read minds, and he has to have her to complete his mission, but he also has to have a wife. So he finds a lady, and they have a fake marriage, but she's an assassin for an opposing country. Eventually later they get a dog who also can see the future. And so it just gets all kinds of crazy as they're trying to keep all their secret identities and yet have a family and like complete this mission. So it's lots of fun. So I've been rewatching that, and yeah.
And the lady assassin is is what's fun about this is she doesn't act like somebody who's expected to be this cold-blooded killer until it's time for her to be killer. Because otherwise she's like super just sweet and nice and kind of demure and kind of shy. And then when you see her go on a killing thing, she's completely feared.
Yeah, she's almost like she's clueless a little bit. Like she's not really smart, honestly, as far as like, school smarts and stuff like that. Like when she's trying to help her daughter with her work and stuff like that. She's very supportive and very positive and stuff like that. So you wouldn't think that she would be like an assassin. But man, if you cross her or the daughter or whatever, it comes out and, yeah.
The inner psycho. She knows like 500 ways to kill you.
Yes.
And she will only have to use 10.
Well, and there's an episode I just got done with where she's trying to learn how to cook because she cannot cook.
Yeah, that's
the
been funny
cannot cook. Now she can clean, and she's really good at cleaning because she's had to clean up after blood.
Clean up the crime
all of the
scene.
crime. Yes, and all that stuff like that. So she's really great at cleaning. But she's trying to use a potato peeler and ends up like blooding herself and the potatoes. And she's like, this is really hard to use this weapon. And her friends are trying to help her learn how to cook. Is like, that's not a weapon. Like, what are you talking about? So anyway, it's lots of fun. And if you like, just fun, cartoon, goofy, kind of awkward, situations aren't too awkward. So I don't like a lot of awkward type of things like that, but I do like that. So yeah, I've been rewatching that. And I kind of got stalled out on some other stuff that I'd been.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. But before you move on, I want to point out, okay, because you mentioned like the little girl is telepathic, so she's the only one that really knows who both of them are because she gets their thoughts, and she thinks like the dad is like super cool because she loves the spy show that she watches on TV. So the dad guy's like, he's the super spy. I'm going to help him on his mission. And then the weird killer thoughts go through the mother's mind, and she's like, "Whoa!" But like the little girl, she doesn't tell either one of them that she's telepathic.
Yeah. So that's part of the fun is that she's trying to help both of them, in kind of their own ways, except that you spend a lot more time with the dad and his spy mission because that's the thing that sets off all of this. Like he wouldn't even have gone to an orphanage to get a kid, wouldn't have even went and tried to get a wife to for his cover and stuff like that. And kind of the cute thing is if you watch it long enough, you kind of get where this really battle jaded, spy, he kind of gets a little softer and he gets a little.
Don't spoil anything for me. I'm still at the point where I think they just got the dog.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he starts to change, to where, at the beginning, episode 1, you see him like really callously discard this woman that thinks that he's going to try to marry her. Like they've been really close. And he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to break up because the mission was done, to where eventually like it kind of starts to change. And the mom kind of does the same thing where she starts valuing, even though this is a fake relationship, a little bit more. And so it's kind of stalled out on the episodes, which is why I'm rewatching it. I'm like, okay, come on. Like I think when we were headed somewhere and suddenly we got stalled.
Well, I think what happened is they moved and they made a movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, you have or haven't?
I'm not.
Okay.
No, I have not.
I don't know if it's available somewhere that we could watch online or not. I know we've discovered this past week that there is like a PS5 game based off of it. I don't know if it's released in the States or not, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, you might actually play that. Maybe I get you to play that more than I've gotten you to play like Final Fantasy VII on. Oh, by the way, did y'all know about Watching Movies with My Pastor, which is the other podcast I'm doing where I literally sit and watch movies and we commentate with Philip. Y'all who know Pastor Philip, he's been on this show before. And occasionally I play games with Heather over here. And what all have I made you play so far?
So far we played Final Fantasy. Now you'll have to tell me
7.
which version. Okay.
The original. I found a copy of the original PlayStation disc and it'll work on my PS3 in the living room. So I sat her down to play it and everything because I thought, okay, well, this might be because it's menu selection. She doesn't have to be that coordinated to do some of the more modern games. I thought, well, this is menu choices in combat. So she might be able to do it, but you can't be indecisive because it doesn't give you a lot of time on that. But so, yeah, I thought she might be able to play that one and she's done pretty good so far. But she's kind of over there moaning about it. If she doesn't do well enough, I can get you on the PS5 or PS4. Probably PS4. That because PS5 I can hang on to my open rest mode. But then you can play and you can cheat and hit the button and bring all your health back and get a free limit break. And you can shut off the random encounters if we needed to. So that way you can still play.
Yeah. I mean, what else did we have? We played together.
Oh, Well, the one that we actually have on the, because we tried some of the games. We tried to play the It Takes Two, which we tried to play a little bit, but I think we did that on our own. But then what I thought would be fun for on the watching movies with my pastor, while I call it playing games with my wife, or the other alternate episodes when we can't watch a movie, is we played a little bit of Lego Harry Potter because I thought you'd have fun with those.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
So we need to play some more because see that's more your speed.
It really is. Yeah, I like the simulation games. Like I play the heck out of Animal Crossing, New Horizon, and Stardew Valley. It's slower paced, unless, like in Stardew Valley, there is a combat element to it, and so you could go into the mines, but you have that choice. Like if, today I feel like I'm going to go, beat up some slimes in the mine, you can go do that. My
brain was thinking of Animal Crossing. I was like, what combat? And I was like, oh, no, Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley has. Stardew Valley has. But otherwise, they're very relaxing. And so it's nice after a day of being a teacher to just kind of like just plant my little things and pick coconuts and
we've moved into the what have we been playing. See how I did that?
Yeah, such a segue.
I'm good. I haven't even talked about what I've been watching, but but how you're talking about doing something that's relaxing. That's a lot of, because I was when I was going to originally do this episode, I was going through and I was playing Hogwarts Legacy again, and I was trying to be evil, and it's just not in me. But I made a Slytherin and a girl. That way it's completely opposite. I'll make a girl whenever I want to do something different. I was like, all right, if we want to be opposite of me. So I made a girl, made her a Slytherin, and I was like, I'm going to, because when on my previous playthrough as a Gryffindor, I didn't even learn a single bit of, I learned how to do the Dark Arc spell because I wanted to get an achievement for learning all the spells, but there's like a core talent thing that when you basically you level up, you get to put points into your different abilities and make yourself stronger, and I did not put anything into my Dark Arts ability to where I could curse anybody with a normal spell. But this time around, I that was the first thing I did, as I made sure my Dark Arts were more powerful than anything else, and I am cursing and using those dark out. The only thing I haven't learned is Avada Kedavra, and I think I'm coming up on it. But I kind of I thought I want to play something else, and I started to play a little bit of Undertale because I've heard so much about it, and it's pretty good, guys. I tell you what, I see what the hype was about. That for a little indie game with one person making it, it was impressive. But with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out on PC and all the stuff I've seen, I was like, you know what, I miss playing with this. And so, speaking of a comfort game, especially because I'm all maxed out on levels, I set that sucker on easy, and like it's almost a little too easy, but it's nice to just casually just go through, and every boss fight I can I one shot killed a boss with Aerith. I hit it with a lightning bolt, and that was it. Yeah. So that's a bit satisfying, but it's when I guess I didn't realize I was kind of worn out and overstressed, and kind of running myself ragged. Until like yesterday, I was thinking about, I got some friends who I haven't paid attention to wrestling in I don't know how long, but it's fun to get together to watch like the big ones like the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. It's just fun to go and hang out. But the Royal Rumble was yesterday. I was like, I don't really feel like going anywhere. I sat on my butt after I went to the gym because I'm making myself go because I have to make myself for a while until I get disciplined. But other than that, I sat on my butt all day and I just played games. I played Rebirth. And it was very super satisfying, which gave you time to take a heck of a long nap, which is why we didn't get the show done yesterday.
Well, we had this last week has been kind of crazy. For me anyway, had medical things that had to happen, and that takes a toll on your body. And then last weekend we had an adventure with the cat and everything. So
we should tell that story, shouldn't we?
Yeah. So
that's a good story. It's kind of different for this show.
Should I start since I was the one that saw the cat first?
Sure. Well, of course I haven't mentioned what I've been watching, but that's also why I brought up watching movies with my pastor.
Oh, do you want to talk about what you're watching first?
Because I just watch YouTube and I watch cat videos. But while I'm switching her mic off, being that today is actually Groundhog's Day when we're recording this, we watched Groundhog Day on Watching Movies with My Pastor, and that is up. And while I'm mentioning this podcast to you, there is of course an audio version, which I cut down any times of silent where we just watch. I put some clips in the movie, but there's only so much of a clip from a movie you can put into YouTube before you get a copyright thing that'll block you. And I actually had to recut some stuff that I put on YouTube because I did get it blocked the first time I was trying to put it on YouTube. But it's also, there's an audio version. But if you go to Patreon and you become a patron of this podcast here, you'll also become a patron of Watching Movies with My Pastor. And there I will put complete watch-along versions where the entire audio of the movie will be there so you can listen along as we talk about the movie. And then hopefully you can watch along. And if you want, I'll do like kind of a video version where you can kind of watch the movie, but it's shrunk down and it looks like you're in a movie theater, and it's very, very, very small version of the movie. because I still intend for you to sit in your own TV and watch and listen to us. I thought that would be fun, or at least hearing the audio. So yes, those who want to join our Patreon will get access to those. Or if you become a Red Circle exclusive member, you at least get the audio of that as well. But yeah, we watched Groundhog Day, and I was hoping we'd be able to watch Superman today, because that is our next plan, is Superman from 1979. So yes, that's what I've been watching. But okay, cat story.
Okay, so this all started when I was just sitting on the couch. I don't remember. I was playing a game. I was playing Animal Crossing. Yeah. Surprise, surprise.
Oh, shocking. I was up here. I think, did I actually get a chance to sit and play something? It was on a weekend. I think I had just come up, and I was still playing Hogwarts Legacy. You were playing something. I was playing Hogwarts Legacy.
So I heard some noise outside, and honestly, I thought I heard guys' voices talking, and I'm not sure where that came from. I don't know if it was just happened to be somebody outside talking or whatever. Anyway,
I thought it wasn't people dumping the cat.
Well, anyway, I thought the mailman had come, but the noise outside had kept getting, it just persisted, and the cats were real agitated. And I thought, oh well, let me go check. Went to go open the door, and I actually had a thought of well, if there's somebody actually out there, probably opening the door isn't a good idea. But I opened it anyway to check, and this orange tomcat comes bouncing out of the flower bed and meows, and it's just the cutest meow that you could ever hear, in my opinion, at the time. It
is knowing how to talk to a human and begging for help.
Yeah,
clearly.
Yeah, and so anyway, and I could tell looking at it its eyes had some type of infection or something going on, and I thought, oh, poor baby. And Jeremy had said something about seeing an orange cat, and I think it was supposed to be at the church, but
we had game night on that Friday, and there was an orange cat outside there that it was sitting outside of the front door of the church, and I saw it when I came out of the restroom, and I was kind of concerned, do you have a home? And I went out, and he kind of ran from me, and I got some of the snack foods. I got some pieces of sausage, and I set it out there to see if I could get him to come eat it, and he avoided me. So that didn't work out. So it was a different cat.
But it was a different cat. But at the time, I was like,
that'd have been weird as heck if the cat from the church had showed up at our house, though.
Well, and I kind of said something to Jeremy. I kind of hollered at him. I said, hey, is this the cat that you were talking about? And of course, he come down to look, and he's like, no, that's a different cat. And then he told me, that was at the church. And so I thought, well, let's see if we can get him some food. Because we do have stray cats, neighbor cats that come around. And, maybe it's because we feed the birds, and that's kind of what the animal shelter person said. If you feed the birds, it tends to attract the cats, because they're for the, especially if they're homeless and they don't have a home and they've been dumped, they'll come and they'll actually eat the bird seed, underneath the feeders. Anyway, so Jeremy was able to get a bowl of food out to him, and he just sat there and ate. He just was it ended up being very, very friendly. So,
and when I brought the food, I thought I was going to scare the kitty away, because I'm the first one. I stepped outside, but I'd gotten a bowl of food, and I kind of slowly opened the door. We tried to make sure Adora, one of our cats who likes to run outside, didn't go out. And I came out, and he was starting to kind of walk away I didn't expect somebody to come out. And he kind of goes, because he had been on our porch, and he went down the porch, got on the sidewalk, and was starting to walk away. And I set the food bed down, and he stopped, and he's like, that's food. And he come over and just eagerly went after that bowl. And I was actually able to sit down next to him. When he got done eating, he came over to me.
And Jeremy was able to pet him and everything like that. And
he was muscly.
Oh, this cat was 100% muscle. I mean, he was a tomcat of tomcats. I have a soft spot for orange males, tomcats anyway, because just probably something that I grew up with them. But he had the big old cheeks that were, tomcat cheeks. If you know cats, you know what I'm talking about. There's some of the testosterone that gives them the big old fat chubby cheeks on the side of their face. Anyway, so he had that, and I had thought, well, can we maybe try to get him in a carrier so we could get him to an animal shelter, because, I think we might be able to catch him. We can't keep him because we got three girl cats, and one of them's kind of
chaos.
Well, and the oldest one is a little picky about who she wants to be around.
She's never forgiven us for bringing home Adora.
Yeah, the youngest one, she just does. They get along okay, but they have their issues from time to time.
They tolerate each other. That's about it. They tolerate each other.
Now, I've seen them bump noses and sniff each other and the like. So I think they do a little better than just, tolerating each other. Anyway, so he is so big, we had to take the cat carrier apart to put him in the carrier.
But see, while I got like while she's trying to get the cat carrier out, and he does not want to get in this carrier. I managed, and he starts to kind of walk away. He let me come and pick him up, and I sit down on the stoop with him in my lap, and I'm just holding him, trying to keep him because it was ice cold.
Very cold outside.
And he's just shivering, and I'm just trying to keep him warm. And so he's very happy to sit in my lap and me hold him, and I was kind of petting him. And he was so dirty. He had like dust all in his fur.
Yeah.
And felt very rough and everything. So I'm just trying to keep him warm while she's trying to unscrew this thing. And we did eventually get him into that carrier, though. But I got to stare, and it's like he was being so sweet and did not try to get away from me. He just sat there with me and just poor thing was just so shivering, but just like soaking it up. And what makes me think he's used to people. Maybe he was somebody's cat and he's got out. I don't know. It was hard to tell.
Yeah. Well, and so while this was all happening, we noticed a couple other health things about him too, that he had a wheezy breath, which we found from animal shelter. They said that's pretty common for outdoor cats because it's been cold. Yeah. So that respiratory virus that outdoor cats tend to get. And we've had to deal with that. Jessie, our middle kitty had it when I found her on the side of the road. So we've dealt with that before.
Pink eye. She was a mess. That poor
kitty. She was pretty bad off. And he had his tail broken at some point. And fairly recent, actually, because he was missing some fur on it as well. But we got him all in the carrier. And then we were trying to figure out, okay, now we need to get him to the shelter because we can't keep him in this carrier all night long. But after calling around to some places, he did end up having to be in the carrier all night long.
Yeah, I don't want to name any particular places that I called that I was very unsatisfied with their decline of us. Because of us not living in
a particular city.
A particular part of the cities will say that they wouldn't take this cat in.
Yeah.
I got other stories from some pet supply stores that do work with shelters that this one particular location, so the store is about maybe 5 miles away from one of the locations of this particular shelter network. They had a dog that had been hit by a car that somebody had brought in, just begging for somebody needs to help this poor dog. And they tried to contact this 5 mile away place to say, here, we need somebody to care for this poor thing. And they refused. And so they end up having to go. They found an emergency vet place. I can't remember where they said it was, but they had to drive quite a ways. And unfortunately, the dog had to be put down. But to have this place like completely turn them away and not find some way to help when you have an injured dog. Sorry, that made me mad. But I'm not going to name names. Because it's tough when you have places that have a reputation of like, oh yeah, we can go there, and then you can't go there. So, but anyway, he did have to spend a night in the carrier overnight, and that was really heart wrenching because I know he probably needed to go to the bathroom and all that kind of stuff. But he cried, but we couldn't let him out because we had to totally unscrew the carrier to get him in there. But like first thing in the morning, I got a call back from our local animal shelter from where we're at. And at this point, I'm almost about to adopt this kitty myself.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I have a soft spot for orange male, tomcats.
I was going to call him Adam because he was a little battle cat. You could tell he'd been in some fights.
Yeah, he's all muscle bound, just definitely a warrior. And so we got him to the shelter in the morning, and they ended up naming him Nacho. And so I was telling some of my students about it. And one girl got real excited. She's like, oh, I just love, Tommy, he would fit in with our cats. And he's like, and then you get a white one, you can name it Queso. And before it was all over, she had a whole series of like, well, we could get all these cats and like name them like, Mexican dip names, Nacho and Queso. And
what would you get for a jalapeno kitty though?
Jalapeno?
Yeah.
I don't
get a black kitty, call it Ghost
Pepper. Well, okay, so there are some orange kitties that have that marbling, kind of like Adora has, where it's more of a reddish orange. You could probably go with jalapeno on that one.
Jalapeno.
Yeah,
well, jalapenos are normally green, aren't they?
They are, but if you leave them out, they'll turn red.
Cat, for real, like if not somebody put a poor dye job on the poor kitty cat, but if you find a green kitty cat.
I almost want to be like, hey, if you're in the area, go adopt Nacho. Like,
if you live around the Kansas City Gladstone area, the Gladstone shelter, and I think they said February 5th is when he's going to be ready for adoption. Taking care of him and nurse him to health. And
he was on a stray hold, so they try to hold him and be like, hey, if you know who this this cat or dog, whose owner they are, they have this amount of time before we'll adopt him out.
Well, he didn't have a chip.
Yeah, no chip, no collar, no nothing. So as far as we know,
Yes,
if you live in the area and you're around Gladstone, he would be a great cat.
Yeah, he'd be a good lap kitty because, like I said, being a stranger, he let me have him just sit in our cats won't even sit in my lap that way, the way I was holding onto him, but I think he felt the warmth because I was trying to hold him close to me and try to share warmth because it just broke my heart. He was just shivering.
Yeah, and they do act different sick versus and we found out with Jessie, she acted one way and although some of her when she was little is still the same. She still likes to climb and get into trouble. So, but he's they estimated him to be 3 years old, and the like. So anyway, that was our cat, and that took a good chunk of our weekend.
It did.
With it, but we was glad we were able to help him.
That's why we didn't get recorded on Saturday because we were doing that, and then Sunday at least we did get to watch Groundhog Day, and so watching movies with my pastor
and the playoffs. Woo!
Yeah, and we had to watch playoff games because. I know, hate us all you want, but we live in Kansas City and we're going to the Super Bowl again. So,
well, and what they're trying to do is unique. I mean, nobody else is doing it.
Chiefs fans, by the way, I have a shop. Well, I'm going to self-promote again. So if you go to the Fandom Nexus or if you go to the neverlandpodcast.com for the Fandom Nexus website and you click on the shop page, you can get to my store. And I have made a couple of mugs and cups that say Tears of Mahomes Haters. Now, I can't say Chiefs haters or anything like that or put any NFL stuff on there because that's very licensed and I will get in trouble. And I don't want to get in trouble like that. But I did I used some, I think, Adobe stock, free stuff, and colored it to kind of almost look like Patrick Mahomes. So it's the right colors, but it doesn't really look like him. And so it's on part of the cup as well. But those of you who are Chiefs fans and you want to get this cup in time for Super Bowl, order it quickly. I don't know how fast the shipping is on this. But yes, get that while supplies last. I'm just going to pretend that supplies are going to run out because I don't know really how that works. But yes, I do have a cup available. And maybe for you Eagles fans, maybe I'll come up with something fun for you. But I don't know if anybody's trying to give you cred, trying to claim that the referees are favoring you, which is clearly a social media lie. But yeah. But yes, I have a cup. But I guess we will move on. I'm going to hit a button. For the news, I got to think of what button is that because I actually do have a little bit of news here, and I think it's this button. I got the right button.
Spanning the Disney and geek universe to bring you the best in comics, toys, movies, and entertainment. This is news from around Neverland.
So Heather is noticing here my Spider-Man with the teenage version of Aerith. Well, it's hard to pose him right, and I managed to get. This is one of those. I forgot what company made these. They're old Spider-Man figures from like the 60s and 70s, where you have a cloth that he wears, but his head is a mask. And I've managed to get him where he's got an arm around Aerith, the Crisis Core version of Aerith, where she's just like a teenager. Like 16 or something when she first meets up with Zach. And his other hand was his wrist was bent weird, so she's now trying to adjust it. But if you adjust too much, he falls down. And so we're just hoping she doesn't mess up. But yeah, she managed over there. Okay. So yeah, sorry, mild distraction. She gets to sit in the seat with all my Aerith figures, which, here's a bit of interesting news that I wasn't planning to talk straight about, but this kind of bugs me a little bit. But so being a Final Fantasy VII fan, and I've purchased all these Aerith figures because she's my top favorite video game character of all time. And I've tried to show Heather how great she is and how similar they are. And I said, I think that's why, because of the similarities. Very much so. I mean, goodness. That's also trying to get her to play. It's play the original game. Maybe have fun with it. And, so she see how much, this was why this is a worldwide phenomenon, these games anyway. But so Square Enix, they're very expensive figures of the characters, right? And so I started collecting them, costing me a lot, and I'm still paying for some. But the most maximum was like the Play Arts Kai, whatever brand of them. And I've already bought that figure, and I've got her nicely posed here with a basket around her arm, holding out one of her yellow lilies. And the one thing I said when I got him, I remember telling Heather this, is she's very much known for her nice, warm and friendly smile. And she smiles, gives a little wink every once in a while. She's very kind of friendly. And all of these figures are very straight faced. And I was like, boy, I wish they'd have given me a head with a smile on it. Well, and now I on the Facebook groups or whatever I see from Square Enix, they show that, oh, look, and we got a brand new Vincent Valentine figure coming out. I was like, hey, cool, that's neat. I wonder if they got anything else coming new. And what do I see? But lo and behold, a new Aerith figure, well, quote unquote, new Aerith figure. And it even says in the description, this is coming out in May. It's the exact same figure body that I already have, but it's different head sculpts where she's smiling. And I'm like, do I really have to spend near $200 to get another figure to get the smiling head? So for the love of everything, Square Enix, please let me just buy a head that I can swap, because that bugs me.
Does that mean you're a headhunter?
I'm hunting for a smiling Aerith head. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you kind of get, I made a video that's up on YouTube, on the official Fandom Nexus YouTube channel. I think it's on the Neverland Gaming channel. I might have put it up there, where I tried to put together like some Aerith's greatest moments, and I labeled it like why Aerith is your favorite character for an hour and a half. And then I realized there was stuff in Rebirth that I'd missed, that I did a follow-up that's like half an hour of some of the fun moments, and I tried to show it to her, and she didn't have a lot of context. But I was like, no, you see how like she's kind of fun, and the nice thing, she's like, see, this is a great character. And I think she kind of gets it. Almost.
Kind of.
See, I need to get her to like play the full thing so she gets to like see Aerith will become your new best friend that's fictional.
Okay, we'll have to see.
Yeah, your new fictional best friend. So he's like, you were just lover. But she did at one point say, it's like, well, I see why you like her. I was like, yeah, she's fun. And as Brianna White has kind of described her a little bit, Brianna White's the one who's been voicing her. It's like she's very like sweet, but yet instead of being completely demure, she's just a little sassy, but it's a very friendly sass, where it's just a little bit of honoriness.
Am I sassy?
Yes.
Am I a friendly sassy?
Yes. Holy cow. Okay, so I'm going to tell a story on you. She's told me this story that I don't know if I even know if I knew you at the time, but she was at a parking lot or where she just went shopping somewhere in a store and came out, and somebody was selling something outside, some guy, and said, hey, well, you can have the receipt or my phone number. And she's like, I'll just take the receipt. Thank you. And I can just imagine how she'd have done it, because she's introverted and she's quiet, but it is always the quiet ones.
That makes it sound like I'm a serial killer or something that. Like
you have this inner, just a little bit of sassiness and everything, but being very just kind of quiet, low key, but smart. And she says some wise things, like Aerith will, so like, oh, that's pretty good. She's smarter than she seems, and how much she loves plants.
Seems stupid.
No, I'm because it's what's funny and cute though is occasionally when you just do something that's like you completely forget yourself. Like, okay, so I got to tell this story because I think it's a cute story. When we first moved into this house, we had automatic locks on the front doors up there, and we had a code for it. She went. I was working in radio at the time. I had already gone to bed because I go to bed early, and I'm downstairs now. We have a downstairs master bedroom, and there is a door off of it. She went outside apparently to go get the mail, and the automatic lock locked her out. Forgetting that she could just punch a code in, she comes all the way around to the basement door and is banging on it and waking me up. So I go in and get her, and she gets in the door. She's like, I was going to get the mail and it locked me out, that dumb thing. And I said, why didn't you just put the code in? And the look I got. She may have murdered me that night, and I just haven't learned it yet.
I don't know about that. No.
And we think that was funny and cute. There was also another time, because this house has been around a long time, and the floors have been stripped down to wood to where there used to be carpet on there, and so
they're original wood floors. Like it's a 62 vintage house,
but there were some nails that would stick out of the thing. One other time, I'm trying to go to sleep. She takes a hammer and she's banging nails in. And then when I come up, she's like, oh, I didn't think you'd hear that. She's literally banging on the floor that's over my head. Oh, I didn't think you'd hear that.
Oops.
So she's smart. She teaches biology, but just occasionally does these dumb, cute things.
It's more than just biology. I shouldn't run the list.
I know, but very Aerith-like. Once again, occasionally does something just a little bit that's just, that's kind of dumb but cute, because Aerith to me is a bit of comic relief in these games. She has these things that just either because she says some sort of sassy or just slightly goofy. I like one of my favorite bits in Rebirth is where she starts to get climbers high because she's not used to it, and the poor thing, she just can't climb up this mountain, and the Cloud and Red 13 are having this conversation where Red, when she's like, Cloud's trying to check on her and asks, like, how you doing? She's like, actually, I'm feeling better. It's like the mountain's pulling me up. And Red 13 says, oh, the mountain has accepted you if you become with the mountain. And Cloud kind of starts talking to Red. And you're still climbing stuff where you're playing. This conversation is going on. And Cloud's like, what are you doing, Red? And Red says, oh, it happens to all new climbers. Don't worry. If she passes that, I'll carry her. And right after they quietly having that conversation, Aerith's like, let's go. But see, Heather just loves her plants and her flowers. So occasionally does silly, cute, funny things. It's occasionally very wise things. I totally married Aerith.
I'm glad you think you're funny and cute now, because sometimes at the time you don't think they're very funny and cute.
No, I still laugh at some of this stuff later.
No, well, you were mad though, me waking you up.
Yeah, well, because he woke me up, but I still kind of giggle about it. And there's some stuff I missed, like when you got confused with a Kool-Aid thing and accidentally made super sweet sugar-free Kool-Aid because you didn't realize it was to make a gallon, and you put it in a 2-quart and put a gallon's worth of Kool-Aid in the thing and served it to some friends of ours, and they were like, whoa, this is sweet. And I came home, I think I was working somewhere in the evening, and I came home and I was like, this will make a gallon, right? And so
I followed the directions. I swear I did.
She just didn't get the right thing. But it was funny when she goofs up, but I completely missed that because that would have been fun. But yeah, that's the thing. And so I don't know how much she really gets. This is why Aerith has become my favorite, because Heather is my favorite person. So that's kind of what it is. Like, I have my favorite fictional person because it reminds me so much of my own wife. So see? But this is why we haven't even gotten to the main topic, but this is why I have on my desk, and if anyone who has found me on Facebook, one of the profile pictures I do is this Spider-Man figure that Philip got me for Christmas last year, or was it this year? I think it was this year. Or was it my birthday? I don't know, but I've had this Spider-Man figure, and he's sitting there with an Aerith that's about the same size there, so they're standing together. I said, this is pretty much Heather and I as toys. So that's exactly why I did this. Like, this is totally us, and that's the Spider-Man figure she's been playing with. Okay, but anyways, I have some actual news to get to.
Yeah, we'll probably get on with the show.
But you all probably hopefully enjoy some of this. Aren't we fun and cute together? Goodness sakes, we've been married like almost 22 years here. This May will be 22 years, and we're dating like 4 years before that, known each other like 6 years before that. I mean,
4 days shy of 4 years.
Yeah,
when we got married. Yep.
But anyways, I'm gonna like bring up total. It's time for a downer. Sorry, I'm gonna turn your mic off just a second. This is from The Hollywood Reporter. John Erwin, the reclusive actor who provided the voices for the heroic title character in He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and the vain frenemy Reggie Mantle in the series of Archie cartoons, has died. He was 88. He died of natural causes around December 20th. Wow, it took him this long to get the news. That's interesting. In his home around Camarillo, I hope I'm saying that, California, his reps at the PR firm Celebworks announced. For nearly a decade, starting in 1969, Erwin was heard in dozens of TV commercials as the snarky Morris the Cat. Yeah. Go ahead and react again.
Yay!
There we go. The finicky orange tabby who would eat nothing but 9 Lives brand of cat food. And now that I think, if I think about Morris's voice in my head, I can kind of hear the He-Man tone.
Yeah, a very droll, kind of like, It
was a hugely successful campaign created by Leo Burnett advertising firm. I used to love Morris the Cat.
I like those commercials as a kid. Yeah. I mean, it's a cat. And again, orange tabby.
Earlier, Erwin was seen on camera when he recurred as the cattle driver Teddy on CBS's Rawhide, starring Clint Eastwood. For Filmation, Erwin voiced the blonde, muscular He-Man and his alter ego Prince Adam on He-Man and the Master Universe from 83 to 85, and on She-Ra, Princess of Power from 85 to 87. Also played the villain Beastman and other secondary characters on the syndicated shows that were based on a line of Mattel toys. We got a quote from Alan Oppenheimer. I gotta read these quotes. I'm gonna end up reading the whole article to y'all. Working with John Erwin was a ballad of irreverence, professionalism, and surprise. Alan Oppenheimer, who starred as Skeletor on He-Man. He was also Man-at-Arms, Duncan, Battle Cat, and Cringer. Alan Oppenheimer, he's great, too. He was a series actor, writer, performer of commercials, musician, painter, and all-around lovely gentleman, and an indelible addition to my life. That's $1 million word, that is.
Indelible?
Yeah. Added Melindy Britt, the voice of She-Ra, He-Man's twin sister. For 40 years, John Erwin was not only my brother on screen, he was my friend. I think that's as far as I'm going to go on this. It's a long article, but how I actually first learned about this was Melindy Britt. I follow her on Facebook, on her fan group, too. Because John Erwin was a very private guy, and Alan Oppenheimer has frequently said, and told him, it's like, hey, when I go to these conventions, people are loving, excited to meet me, but they ask, where's John Erwin? I want to meet He-Man. And he's never wanted to do it. But Melanie Britt, who I follow, and I'm hoping she comes to town sometime because I'll have her sign a She-Ra figure. It'll be great. But she wrote this really nice little letter, pretty much, which just they quoted from. And that's when I found out. I saw her thing first, and then I was like, so I shared that in the Facebook group for the Fandom Nexus, and then found the article in the Hollywood Reporter, and because it was He-Man, I had to say something because I have like at least almost two complete, like one full wall of like He-Man figures now. So I feel like I have dedicated areas of Ninja Turtles and Marvel and He-Man, and then my Aerith corner over here on my desk. So I'm loaded up here.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. So in our news segment, we managed to talk both He-Man and Aerith. I feel like I've covered everything in my office except for Spider-Man, because we don't want to talk about the new Spider-Man cartoon because, oh my gosh, that looks horrible. Yeah, and I'm not watching it. I'm sorry. If you watch it, enjoy it, you go right ahead and enjoy it, and I will be happy for you to enjoy it, but I just can't. I am trying to read some of the comics again. I checked a bunch out in the library. I was going to read it while you were at the doctor's office there. I say doctor's office, but yeah, we'll call it a doctor's office, but it was more of a hospital, but yeah.
Yeah.
And I was talking to you while you're waiting. I didn't get a whole lot. You actually, it was pretty quick.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to get into that. Sorry. I don't want to share that to everybody here. But Heather's perfectly healthy. She's doing fine. And that's why we went. We found out how healthy she is. She's feeling good, doing good. So, but as you get older, they're going to want to check you out. So be prepared.
Mm-hmm.
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe will be back right after these messages.
Your neighborhood just got cooler with Kroger Delivery's refrigerated trucks. Simply order groceries at the same great prices online as in-store, and we'll bring them to you fresh every time. And if that wasn't cool enough, you can now earn 4 times the fuel points after 4 with your digital coupon. Choose a next-day Kroger Delivery time slot for 4 p.m. or later on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Must deliver by February 4th. Restrictions apply. See Kroger.com for details.
And now back to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Alrighty, so now I don't have a button for main stuff, but as we mentioned earlier, I had the thought, like, you know what? Every time I've tried to watch Disney's Black Cauldron, I have fallen asleep.
For shame.
I can't help it. I mean, the style of it is very cool. I've even met like Patty Peraza, Mike Peraza's wife, but Patty was a special effects artist with Disney and did some of the there's really cool effects.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say for the Black Cauldron movie, it looks great. It's very cool and very stylish. There's a lot of good things about it. They just messed up the story because they kind of Disneyfied it a little bit. Disneyfied some characters to make them funnier or something. And they went for something they thought they could be dramatic. They went for the best villain that shows up in the first couple of books and one of the best villain items and mashed them together to put 2 books together, and then didn't really tell the story of both books well in that movie.
Yeah, of the series, I guess not really getting into the books, but I guess kind of. The Black Cauldron is probably the most popular of the series, I think.
Probably because of the Disney movie.
Well, yeah, I think part of the Disney movie, but I think it might have been the first book in the series that got an award. I believe. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Now, some of the other books in the series did get like literary awards, but I think the Black Cauldron was the first one that did.
Well, we'll get into that. It did win in 1966. It was a Newbery Honor.
Yeah. So
there was also a Newbery Medal given to the High King, the final book.
Yeah. So, but you have to get, in order to understand the Black Cauldron. Well, okay, you can just read it. You can just read the Black Cauldron just as it is. But in all of them, they're that way. And even in the forewords of the version that I read, it says he all meant to them. Lloyd Alexander, who authored the books, meant them to, you can pick them up and you can read them without having to read the other parts. But the way they did the movie, you really kind of had to have some of
you needed
the book of
context.
3 with it. Yeah.
Because the Oracle Pig is more of a book of 3 thing than it is a Black Cauldron thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, trying to go and tell the story of the pig and then leaving out Prince Gwydion. And I mean, their mistakes were made. I will say
Yeah.
they left out too many characters and altered too many others. Like Gurgi, I know people are gonna hate me for this, but Gurgi is not supposed to be this little thing. He's supposed to be kind of somewhere between. He's like a half human, half animal looking thing, and he's been compared to what would be almost like an orangutan. And he's big, he's kind of strong, he's dirty. He's not supposed to talk like this.
Although I like that voice a lot better
He sounds like
than what it
Gollum.
is in my head when
Yeah. Well, I listened to audiobooks to try to catch up because I didn't have time to read, but she had some time off with the snow days still going on.
Yeah, between Christmas break and snow days, I had plenty of time to read the books. And they're quick
I had
reads.
to go back to work in the new year.
Yeah, well, they're young adults. They're for young adults.
Yeah.
They're a youth, juvenile, kind of book. So they're a quick read. They're intended to be a quick read.
Yeah. You could probably read one in a day in just few hours. Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
So,
and I'm not a fast reader either.
But in Gurgi, I like the description that you're given in the Book of Three, where Prince Gwydion is telling Taran, it's like Gurgi wants to be this fearsome monster, but he's too what's the word? He's too sad about himself, self-depreciating or whatever, to really be dangerous. But they do kind of point out when riled and has to fight the enemies and stuff and defend his friends, he is fierce. He finds his fierceness in his love for his friends. And so Gurgi got really misrepresented in the Disney. He got very Disneyfied. And if you think that was something, you got Fluter Flam, who's fairly young, maybe supposed to be in his early 20s when we first meet him, and who's a king who doesn't like being king. He prefers to be a bard, even if he's not good at it. They turned him into this doddering old man just because they thought it was funny or something.
Yeah, and he's supposed to be. Yeah, he's. They don't really ever give an age, but he's a younger person,
blonde hair
with the hair like flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it's in my head, I feel like it's. I picture him with curly hair because curly hair when it gets to be long enough, it kind of goes everywhere, and the like. And in many ways, he's almost kind of as juvenile as Taran.
Yeah.
In many ways, he is.
A little bit. He's a little immature.
Yeah, but so it's really more of like a group of three friends, similar in age, as they go through.
We got to count Gurgi.
And Gurgi, yes.
Gurgi's their friend.
Yeah. And I like when you talk about Gurgi, and I think it is in the Black Cauldron, or maybe it's in the Book of Three. They kind of run it because I read them all together. I don't think maybe it was in the Book of Three, that they go to, and I can't think of his name. It's like a Noah character. So they have in there as part of the mythology in the book that there was a boat with animals and there was a flood, and to save them, this guy made essentially an ark. It's going to remind you of the ark story. And so the guy who, it's not Noah, but like that's what it reminds me of. He talks about Gurgi's looking for a purpose.
Yeah.
And when he meets Taran, don't get along at the beginning.
Which they did translate. Disney did kind of find out where Gurgi's a little bit annoying.
He's a little bit of a pest and obsessed with food.
Taran is young and very immature when we meet him. So Taran has quite a growth throughout the books, and he learns new things and becomes the proper person. We get to go on a journey with him through 5 books. And Eilonwy even goes through quite the journey of becoming who she's supposed to be.
Not as much of one, but yes, she does. Yes.
Yeah, not as much the hero's journey that Taran is going through, but it's neat to see them kind of grow together in their own ways. And she's got a lot of annoying qualities at first that kind of starts to go, but there are still times where throughout the books that she gets mad about a thing, and Taran is like, I have no idea what she's upset about. And I'm like, I'm with you, Taran. I don't understand this little tirade either. Sometimes you're like, Taran, dude, don't say that.
And with the movie, you really don't. She's not that annoying. They kind of toned it down. She's almost like
and changed her hair color.
Yeah, but now they got
Hollywood
the gold
hates
part.
redheads.
They got the gold part, but she's supposed to be the red golden hair. So she's supposed to be kind of like a strawberry blonde, sort of. More reddish.
And even the artwork done originally for the books is they used a very red for her.
Yeah, depending on which book you picked up. But anyway, so she's not annoying in the movie. She's just helpful, basically, is what it turns out to be. So there is a difference between the book and the movie with Eilonwy because she kind of comes off as less annoying, less bossy than she is in the book. She's so bossy, especially the early.
Yeah, she grows out of it and she becomes more likable as it goes along. It's nice to watch character growth. We see Gurgi become more confident and more trusted and more, reliable. We see Fluter Flam kind of become a little bit more honest and not prone so much to every book he's got a different
coloring
version,
the
truth and expanding on. He's got a different term every book for what he
has
does.
to have an artistic flair,
yes.
to it.
Yeah, because if I didn't lie, it'd be boring, right?
No.
So he's more lovable and more fun, I think, in the books than what they did to him in the movie. But maybe the worst crime of all is what they did to. I want to call him Dory, but that's from Lord of the Rings. The dwarf.
Dolly.
Yes.
Dolly.
I think it's Dolly.
Dolly, yeah.
Yes, Dolly. And the names are. I've actually got a page pulled up about the entire Chronicles of Prydain, in case we need a reference. But Dolly, he is as a dwarf, he's one of the fair folk. But they turned him into this tiny little fairy in Disney. And made them all fairies. It's no, he's a dwarf.
He's a proper dwarf.
He's a proper dwarf. know, he's a Gimli kind of guy, and he is kind of gruff and everything, talking. But he's one of those where he's kind of acts all gruff, but underneath is a good kind heart underneath that he hides underneath the complaining about everything. And
they don't get he does change like the other one. He maintains the grumpy exterior, but you can tell that he likes them and he grows to like them, even more. When you're
but he hates when you make him turn invisible because I know, good old Dolly turn invisible and makes my ears ring and everybody puts their elbow in my eye because they can't see me.
That's different than the book, because in the book he can't turn invisible.
Well, in this particular book he learns.
Yeah,
I think Prince Gwydion helped him to get it by the end.
At the end of Book of 3, he's given the ability to turn invisible. So by the time Black Cauldron comes along, he can. Right. So they left that part out, and I can understand why, because that gets into
it gets in the way,
of the point of what they were trying to do with the movie. But yes, his ears ring, and
I like the way he complains about you turn invisible and people stick their elbow right in your eye, because that tells you about how tall he is, because they don't see him there and they'll back an elbow up or whatever, just move and then bonk right in the eye, and so that gives me a good visual. I liked it. Give me an idea of how tall he would be.
Yeah, and there's other descriptions in the book that leads you to believe he's not this tiny little,
he's a proper fairy tale kind of fantasy dwarf.
Yeah,
high fantasy as it's described. Really,
they kind of play him off more like a gnome size rather than a dwarf size in the movie. He's a proper
they can
dwarf.
Use to be although gnomes are usually a lot smaller.
They're smaller, yeah.
They're. I mean, they might with their hat they might come up to your knee. That's a gnome. Gnomes are much smaller than dwarves.
But that's the way the movie they kind of.
A full-grown person, he'd be at least about a 4-footer, like a proper dwarf. Though, if somebody can elbow him in the eyeball, excuse me, because like a hobbit would be about 3 to 4 foot, and a dwarf will be about 4 foot. Then. Elves, as a high fantasy elves, the elf could be, about a 6-footer.
They're tall.
They're tall and slender. So
yeah. So the movie is good. It's worth a watch, in my opinion. It's worth a watch.
But if you've read the books, you might be disappointed. But the movie the movies, if they hadn't tried to do so much and they altered the Horned King greatly. I mean, the design of their Horned King is cool, but it's not what the Horned King is in the book. And the Horned King, he's closer. I always imagine him like General Kell from Willow.
Yeah.
Because he wears this big deer skull mask with these big horns on it, which is how he was known as the Horned King. And he's more of a fighter warrior, and he's scary that way, but he serves a master who's stronger and powerful than him.
Aran,
right. I guess we'll get into that too. And Disney almost blended him with Aran a little bit to make him more magical and menacing that way. And he's entertaining in the movie, but I think it'd have been better served if they'd given you the book version, who was very dreaded and scary, and has a very weird end too.
But they may not have been. It might have read it and been like, "Ooh, we can't do that because he is
too scary." Maybe.
Yeah, he is too scary, because in the book they always talk about Scarlet going up his arms, which we presume is blood.
Yeah.
He's got bare arms. Like he is presented in the book is like perpetually being like covered in blood, with the man skull and the antlers, and just absolutely merciless.
Yeah. No, not really antlers. It says horns.
But they're.
But it is supposed to be a deer skull.
Kind of, yeah. So the deer would be antlers, but they would refer to them as horns.
Yeah.
So I can understand why they tamed that down.
Yeah.
And
so that was going to be too much, but yet doing the zombie thing was okay. There's people who have said that when they were kids, they saw this movie and it terrified them.
Yeah, it depends on. I guess it would depend on your age, and it would depend on how you would handle that kind of thing. Because I understand, as a little kid, Dark Crystal came out, and the scene where the Skeksis, the king died, the emperor died, that scared me. Yeah, that terrified me.
Yeah.
Even though now that I look back at it as an adult, I'm like, well, it really wasn't that scary. But as a kid, that scared me.
Yeah, well, because it was a dark and scary movie when you were a kid, but I loved the heck out of it after I watched The Dark Crystal. And this one, no, I didn't love the heck of it, but it was very cool, and the music is very neat on it. But they tried to do too much with the story, and if they just stuck with the story in the book and maybe even brought in some of the other characters, I think they could have made a better movie. And there has been talk that they actually still have the rights to make these movies, and maybe they could do it as live action now and do justice to it. But I don't trust Disney to not screw things up anymore.
Well, yeah, anymore they would start race and gender swapping things and trying to push agendas in it that's not in the book. The book is high fantasy. Yeah. That's all that there is to it, and
kind of like what Tolkien would say. He was trying to write like almost a history of England. Lloyd Alexander has talked about this. I think Wales is where he was talking about. He's trying to bring some folklore of Wales and kind of also create his own mythology of Wales.
Yeah.
So they try to treat this like they're doing a history that's not really history.
It's almost kind of like a love story to Welsh mythology.
Yeah.
Because you get a little bit of this and a little bit of that, from things that you could tell. And as you read along, I think as an adult, now as a kid, I don't think I saw it, but as an adult, I can, okay, that is, inspired by some actual like mythology, and things like that. But as a kid, it was just fun because I love fairy tales. Kid, I still love it.
Yeah. And there's so many interesting villainous characters that I think would, if they did it right, would go over well. Like as I'm pulling down stuff, they just were mentioned the evil sorceress queen Ocarin. She is scary. What I would love to see them try to do this because they're saying, oh, we don't have like good strong female characters. Well, you want a good scary villainess and just go all out because she's supposed to be like this beautiful enchantress. She's actually gave the power to Aran, who is like your major villain. She's the one that gave him power, and she is super scary. And it's a funny thing. You think she's dealt with in the Black Cauldron, which they completely cut that out.
Yeah.
And then when she comes back, and she's a major threat, and she's at one point you're like it seems hopeless. Like, oh my gosh, she's got them all. What in the world are they going to do? I mean, she's super powerful.
More than once, she's got them all.
Yeah. So I mean, she's a awesome villainess.
Yes.
And because because Aran is always in the background, it seems in these books, Ocarin, who actually shows up, is more scary. Of course, now I haven't gone through my second read through, listen through. I need to pick up on Taran Wanderer and the High King, the last two books. I need to go and listen to those, but I'm trying to catch up on my podcasts. So, but I think that gets closer when Aran starts actually taking action. But he's almost like Sauron. Where Sauron in the Lord of the Rings is like this background villain. He's the one behind everything, but you don't have it like direct contact. He's just this scary threat back there. But Ocarin would be more like Saruman. Like, this is the threat that's right here that is a scary threat. Like, oh my gosh, he's going to get us all at Helm's Deep,
Yeah, but different because she's sort of like the source of Aran.
She'd be more like Morgoth.
She's like
she's Morgoth. She's the source of all of it.
Yeah. And she does a lot of change too if you read the books. Because she doesn't show up in Taran Wanderer, but she appears in all the books. She shows up to some extent, and even at the end as the High King.
Because they're worried that what if she's not dead? What if she comes back?
Oh, she's a tough booger. She's a tough booger.
Yeah, and I don't remember how things turn out, and I don't want to spoil anything because I can't remember. But somewhere in the back of my
but I won't.
Don't, because I'm going to reread these, and we want people to read these books. I mean, there's books from the '60s, y'all. So I was like, we shouldn't have to be a spoiler warning, but no, that just because he's been out since the '60s doesn't mean you've read him. But part of my brain sees like her and Prince Gwydion, if she would just, because she loses her power, and at one point even becomes kind of suicidal because she doesn't know who she is without her power. I'd almost like her and Prince Gwydion, if she would just chill the heck out. Her and Prince Gwydion. Part of my brain says like, she could be reformed and might make a nice queen together with Prince Gwydion.
Oh, she wanted him. Like,
yeah,
that in the Black,
because she was like impressed with him, and he's like, I'm not joining you to conquer the world and do your evil stuff. But if she, without her power and her narcissism, with her power stripped away, and she has to find a new purpose, as Taran says, like, no, we're not going to let you kill yourself. Find you a new purpose. And I don't remember what happens to her, but part of my brain says, like, if she just chills out and kind of changes her ways, because I love redemption stories. Heck, that's the whole basis of Christianity. It's a redemption story for all of us. I love a good redemption story because we all come from horrible things, but we can all be better and change. And so part of my brain, and I don't remember if this is what happens in the book, but this is what I kind of want when I get to this point, like that she's going to have a redemption story, and then her and Prince Gwydion somehow another, I don't know. And I don't remember if that's what happens or not because it's been a long time. And you are so tight-lipped over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate it. Don't say nothing. But that's kind of what I end up wanting to happen. And it's one of those things that you kind of want Taran and Elanwe to get their crap together. Because, it's like there's a mutual like, but Taran doesn't know how to express it. And Elanwe, you can tell she kind of likes Taran, even though they frustrate each other. But it also reminds me of one of my favorite books from the Chronicles of Narnia, when you've got Shasta and I forgot what the princess name in that one is. Oh, heck.
It's been too long since I've read it.
It's been too long.
Yeah.
But I love on the end of the book, how C.S. Lewis says, like, they got so good about arguing and making up again, they decided to get married so as to continue doing it. I love that. I'm like, oh, that is so sweet. We maybe I need to argue with you more so we can make up more often. I don't know. No, I'm teasing.
No.
Yeah.
I don't like conflict.
I know. You break down into tears, Poor thing.
Everybody processes differently.
Yeah. But yeah, so overall, we do recommend these books. It starts with the Book of Three. There's 5 books in this set.
Mm-hmm.
And if you enjoyed the Black Cauldron movie, go ahead and read. And even if you didn't enjoy the movie, go ahead and read these books at your local library, folks. And there's audiobooks available everywhere. The audiobook that I was listening to was actually a fairly recent recording. And the guy is doing really good, and he gives different voices. And I let him. He's got kind of an Irish thing going on, and I kind of liked he does an Irish, but I actually am apparently an Irish American, but I can't do an Irish accent to save my life.
Well, apparently I'm Welsh, some Welsh in there.
Apparently I got some Welsh in there too, which gave me my dark hair too.
Yeah.
So,
but now on the other hand, like I like reading the books because I have my own way that it sounds in my head. And if I listen to someone doing the voice or like watching the movie before I read the book, then I get that.
I get that voice. Head. Yep. That happens with me too. Even reading a comic book, if I've got a movie version or a cartoon version, that's the voice that I will pull from. I read a Garfield comic and it's Lorenzo music.
Mm. So just real, the 3 witches, the Ordu, Orwin, and Orgoch, like those are pretty, I think, faithful to the book.
Yeah, they did. Although I wish they could have gone far enough where they, at some point where Taran and the company are hiding out like in a shed or whatever, and they look into a window and they see these 3 beautiful enchantresses, but then later they see them 3 as these horrible witches. So you're like,
yeah,
there's something up with these 3, and they're even the ones apparently that gave Akron the power, but they are so neutral that they just like to see things play out because they're the ones with the cauldron, and they gave what's his name? Wow.
Aran.
They gave Aran the cauldron, not thinking about any sort of consequences. They're like, we're going to let him use it for a while, but then they decide, well, we're just going to take it back. Well, we're going to take it back now, but they don't really care as long as they get something out of it. They are so neutral that they don't care who wins on anything. So they're kind of scary in that way that they're just like, oh, this is just entertaining for us and just whatever.
Well, it's like in the book, they said that we're more interested in things as they are.
Yeah.
They're not really interested in changing anything. Yeah, they're kind of, again, kind of background players because they gave Dalbin the Book of 3.
Yeah.
They gave Aran the Cauldron.
They set things in motion and don't care about the consequences.
Yeah. But you get an idea that they kind of know what's up. Like, they kind of know what's coming.
But it's almost like they don't care.
Yeah.
Other than, oh, little Dalbin, remember he was such a baby? And oh my goodness, and he ate this thing and become powerful and immortal now. And
sweet little Dalbin has a beard. Oh, what does he want to do with a thing like that?
Yeah. So the characters are so interesting and so good in this that you should really all read this because Disney just didn't quite do it justice. Although I still would say go ahead and watch it if you've never seen the Black Cauldron. Find a way to watch it. Just for the style and stuff, it's very cool.
It's different
and
than other Disney.
Yeah, it's
cartoons.
and yet it's the same because they Disneyfied everything as best they could, but it's still kind of dark. It's during that same time that you got the Black Cauldron and Something Wicked This Way Comes and The Watcher in the Woods, where they're trying to expand. And it's the very first animated film made by Americans that was a PG. Well, no, there was some rated R stuff from the 70s, but I mean, it's Disney making a PG, and it was groundbreaking at the time to do that. Now, rated G, I think it doesn't even exist anymore.
Not truly, because everybody pushes it way too much.
Yeah. Well, they've also become a bit more. It's a lot easier now to get that PG-13 rating than it used to be. They've expanded, and so they were like, okay, well, PG is more that general audience thing, and PG-13 is what used to be a PG movie. So yeah, the world has changed, but that's about a good time to wrap this up, I'd say, wouldn't you?
Sure.
Okay. Well, let me get back to my notes here, because I'm looking at a whole different thing. Okay, so there we go, and I'm going to turn off her mic so I can sound a lot better. All right, so I have not mentioned any of our sponsor type of things, but if you go to neverlandpodcast.com, you'll find a big logo for Dubby. Click right in there, or if you go to dubby.gg, use the discount code Neverland, you get a discount. If you happen to be a gamer and you want some good energy, but you do not want the jitters, this is a powdered drink mix that you mix in some water, and it's got all kinds of good vitamins and healthy things in there to help you be a better, more energized gamer. We also want to mention Podgagement, which you will find also links there. That is Daniel J. Lewis's fantastic service that if you happen to be a podcaster, this is a great way to get your reviews sent to your email from around the world, because normally you're only going to get to see what Apple has up there for you, but people can leave reviews in a lot of different places, and people who leave reviews in foreign countries, Apple won't even carry those over. So he's actually got a way where you can get it all emailed to you, so you get to see your reviews. So all of our reviews are brought to them by them, and we haven't had a review actually in a while. So if you have not yet written a review for this podcast, please do with that, because I will get to see it and I can read it on there and let everybody know. And thank you for doing it. So that would be fantastic. All right. We also we want to thank Karen Kennedy, Ricky Pope of Christian Nerds Unite, and Darren Wilhite of the Wilhite and Wall Show, because they're the ones that helped me out with the intro. Those are those voices you hear that are not mine. Don't forget to follow us on X. I don't think anything's changed about this. It's still Neverland PCast. On Facebook, you can probably find us under Neverland Podcast, but I think Facebook, mainly it's going to be under the Fandom Nexus. I really should update my notes. I think I say this every time. I recommend actually being part of the group because we get to interact. I share more things into the group, because if I try to share with the like page, I have to actually change profiles. I wish Facebook would never have done that. It makes life very complicated. I have also started a brand new group actually for watching movies with my pastor. So if you're interested in that idea, come and check out that group as well. And let's get that one going as well. And the fun thing also with the Fandom Nexus group is Jonathan Johnson of Diz Radio, which I have a segment I do for him. He the most obscure Disney movies and all kinds of different movies from the 80s. He knows these things, and he shares fun stuff in the group about this stuff that I'm like, oh man, I remember that. Like, oh my gosh. And some stuff I'm like, what in the world is this? So, but yeah, Jonathan shares a lot of fun stuff. And if you want some more of his fun stuff, make sure you go over to Diz Radio and join that group as well. We have fun over in that one too. So yeah, lots of fun things. And Diz Radio, he's bringing back, and you get to hear more fun things with me. And also he does a lot of celebrity interviews. So go check that out as well. So I think I've plugged about everybody and everything that I need to, but don't forget about, of course, our Patreon. Or if you look down in the show notes, you'll see Red Circle has an exclusive membership. For very inexpensively, you can become a member. You help out the show, keep us going, and you get bonus content, which, little hidden things and stuff like that I release. That, but either way, if you don't like the fact that I have ads that play beginning, end, and in the middle of the show, other than the ads I read, you get the Red Circle exclusive or the Patreon. And I won't put those ads into that version. So if the ads bother you, otherwise I use those ads to pay the bills around here. So anyway, tell other people about the show and make sure you have fun with the show and have fun with other people. And as we say at the end of every episode of this show, do you know what we say at the end of this show?
Get lost in an adventure.
Oh, I was trying to say it together with you, and I was trying to count it down.
Oh, okay.
See, you gotta get the anticipation. You're not good at this.
I don't anticipate very long. I teach kids. If you wait too long, you lose them.
Okay. Well, let me show you a proper way to do this. Get lost in an adventure, and we'll see you next time.
Your neighborhood just got cooler with Kroger Delivery's refrigerated trucks. Simply order groceries at the same great prices online as in-store, and we'll bring them to you fresh every time. And if that wasn't cool enough, you can now earn 4 times the fuel points after 4 with your digital coupon. Choose a next-day Kroger delivery time slot for 4 p.m. or later on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Must deliver by February 4th. Restrictions apply. See Kroger.com for details.